Welcome back to week 2. How did you do? I know this first week is really hard for a lot of people, and people frequently ask me a lot of questions. I just want to go over some of the most common questions that we get after the first week. The first one is, what if I cheat? What if I don't do perfect? Now, I know some people who teach this protocol who say, if you mess up, you need to start over again. I'm not that strict. But the fact is, you have to do as good as you can. We need to convert your body over to burning fat for fuel. One of the best ways that you can check to see if this is happening is either in our office or from our store or from any local convenience store. Go buy ketone strips. When your body starts burning your own fat reserves, you go into something called ketogenesis. And your body gives off something called ketones when you start burning your own fat. And you can measure this. If you're eating the way you're supposed to, you should be entering into ketosis during this first week. Another really common question that we get is, a lot of people have changes in their bowels. And some people actually start to get a little constipated because they're changing from eating mostly fiber-based things to eating more protein and vegetables. 2 answers. 1, try to eat more vegetables and maybe a little less meat if you're getting constipated. The second thing that you can do if you're constipated is just do an enema. Just warm water, and you can go buy an enema bucket or an enema bag from any of the local convenience stores, and then add fiber and magnesium. These are 2 things that will help your bowels to continue to stay regular. Another question that we get is, can I overeat? And the great news is no. Eat until you're satisfied and you're full. Remember that feel full hormone is going to start to activate, and so just eat. This is not meant to be a period of punishment or starvation. Another question that we get is, what about my addictions? What about smoking? You have to give up some things that are common addictions. The coffee, the alcohol, those 2 have to go. Those 2 affect blood sugar, but you can continue to do things like smoking. We don't want to make it too hard, too fast. And what we found is that the sugar thing, it's the basis of all other addictions. And so let's just get this first most important thing under control, and then we find a lot of people are able to give up other addictions shortly afterwards. Another question that a lot of people ask me is about fruit. And I did mention that all fruit has got to be out for these first 21 days. So I know I love fruit too, but no fruit, okay? There's a lot more questions and answers if you go back and you read our questions and answers section. And so let's get into week 2. So week 2 is all about digestion. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, used to say all disease begins in the gut. And he's right. Science has agreed. Even the field of epigenetics says that 90% of how our bodies activate our genetics is controlled by the bacteria in our guts. We're finding that the neurons that connect the brain to the gut, actually 90% of the neurons go from the gut to the brain. Our digestive system is integral to good health. So in week 2, I want to talk to you all about how to fix your digestion. The first step, as I mentioned, is we're stabilizing our blood sugar. We're getting all the processed, sugary, carbohydrate foods out. And the next step is to heal and seal. And so for this step, there's 4 things that we need to talk about. There's 4 stages to the digestive system that we need to support over the next 60 days. And so let me start in describing basically the journey that you go through when you eat. The first thing that happens when we eat food is we chew it, right? And our saliva immediately starts to work on it. A lot of people don't realize that saliva is sort of like the post office in the body. It tags the food for where it's going to go in your body. So I encourage people to try to eat a little more slowly. Try to let the saliva really do its job. And then it goes to the stomach. And the stomach is what I'm calling the first phase. Our stomach actually has a pH of 2. pH of 2, that's like way more acidic than battery acid. And so what happens is the food that we eat goes into this vat of acid. And the point of this vat of acid is to kill off first any infectious organisms, any parasites or bacteria or nasty stuff that might still be in our food. The second thing is we need this acid to break apart the protein bonds in food. The protein bonds, or the amino acids, are essential for our health. This is where we pull out a lot of the B vitamins and other nutrients that are necessary. And so what happens is when it goes down there, our stomach is sort of like a washing machine. It churns it, and it tumbles it and moves it around. And then once it's all broken up, what happens is it's emptied from the stomach. But unfortunately, our stomach acid, as we age, begins to drop. In fact, our stomach acid is highest when we're about 15 years old. A 50-year-old only has about 20% of the stomach acid that we did when we were in our teenage years. And so we need to have sufficient acid to break apart our food. And what I find is, especially people that are stressed, people that are aging, people that have other health conditions, universally they don't have enough stomach acid. I know this sounds crazy because so many commercials are telling us, hey, are you getting GERD? Are you getting stomach pain? Are you getting acid reflux? Just take an antacid. Well, this is the most destructive thing that people do for their health. When you block stomach acid, you block all the further digestive dominoes, and you set yourself up for a myriad of health issues. In fact, almost every single person that I've dealt with that has severe osteoporosis has been on antacids for years. And so we need to acidify the stomach. This is the first step. And so what we'd like to talk about is something called the stomach juice test. And this is something I want all of you to do. The stomach juice test is where you add acid to your stomach. You can either use our supplement, the whole body health supplement called stomach juice, or you can use a tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar. And you can put that in your water a couple times a day. And I love doing the stomach juice test when people actually are actively complaining of any digestive issue. And I give them a couple of tablets of concentrated stomach juice or apple cider vinegar, and I wait 15 minutes to see what happens. And so over this next week, you're going to be doing the stomach juice test. You're either going to be putting a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in your water, or you're going to be taking 2 tablets of stomach juice with every single meal. Dr. Jonathan Wright, who's a medical doctor, used to say a small improvement in your stomach will create miracle-like changes in the rest of your body. And we find people that have, especially acid reflux and GERD and bloating and gas, they need to get this stomach juice, acidic medium of the stomach right first. Along with this video, there's going to be an attached document that describes the stomach juice test. I'd like you to read that, but this week again, we're going to add that. So after food goes into our stomach and is acidic enough, when it leaves the stomach, it's called chyme. And this signals our liver and gallbladder to work on it and to alkalize it. So the second stage of our digestive system is liver. Most people have a backed up liver. It's just universal, unfortunately, because there's so many chemicals in our environment. A lot of the fake fats, like the trans fats and the heated polyunsaturated vegetable oils that are in all of our food nowadays, they clog up our liver. So our liver doesn't drain the way that it should. And so the second stage is getting our liver drainage working properly. The liver is the largest, hardest working organ in the body. Some of the things that it does is it removes waste. It removes estrogen, it removes histamines. It produces and removes cholesterol from the body. It is essential for absorbing fat and fat-soluble vitamins. It's necessary for stabilizing our blood sugar. It helps remove excess hormones that make us fat. It's so important that it's necessary that we have good drainage. Think of your liver and intrahepatic ductwork, sort of like the plumbing system in a city. Lots and lots of small pipes lead to bigger pipes and bigger pipes and bigger pipes until it finally drains. Well, almost everybody is blocked. I remember when I was in college, back when I was doing dissection of humans in gross anatomy class, I would cut open livers and I would see that first the drainage was completely backed up. And a lot of these people just had sludge and stones. Many people have hundreds, if not thousands of stones in their gallbladder and backed up through their liver. And this is the reason that we get so many symptoms of liver. Let me read you some of the symptoms. Some of the symptoms of poor liver and bile production are first a hard pot belly. We all know people like this where they're fairly skinny but they have a belly. The next one is a craving of fatty, fried, or sour foods. Any joint degeneration or arthritis is a sign of poor liver and bile movement. Some people even get yellowing of the whites of the eyes called jaundice, or they wake up with morning bloodshot eyes. Anybody that has skin conditions, whether it's skin rashes, hives, itchiness, eczema, psoriasis, little red dots on the skin, white dots like candida or tinea versicolor, all of these are signs that your liver's backed up and that your skin is actually having to act as a detox organ. Hemorrhoids or an itchy anus, sensitivities to anything, sensitivities to perfume, chemicals, allergens, environmental allergies. These are all signs that your liver bile is not draining properly. And then things like high cholesterol, high triglycerides. We find that people that have urine that's darker or more smelly in the morning is a sign of poor liver. People who have a noticeably white-coated tongue, people that are inflamed, especially people that get the soles of their feet that are painful and peeling, people that have a tendency to have no appetite, especially in the morning, and frequently don't feel like a need to eat breakfast, that's a sign of poor liver. People that have light-colored stools is a sign of that the bile is not moving. People that have pain around their liver gallbladder, either in the front, right around the rib cage, or in the back, right behind their shoulder blade. People that get acid reflux after eating fatty foods. And then one of the most common ones is people that wake up between 1 and 4 o'clock in the morning. This is a sign of liver stress. And then the last one is constipation. I find that constipation is a huge problem with people with poor liver problems. And so there's 3 things that we recommend to do in this next phase. The first thing is we have to support liver. By just changing your diet in the phase 1 diet, you're going a long way by not putting more stuff in that stresses your liver. But then we have to provide the nutrition for the liver. Beets is one of the best nutrients, and the beet leaves is one of the best nutrients on earth for the liver. And so in our product that we give people called liver gallbladder drainage, it has everything that you need to help drain all this intrahepatic ductwork and to get your bile moving so that you can absorb and utilize fats. This is just totally necessary because as we move on and we want to turn your body into a fat-burning machine, if you don't have sufficient liver and bile, we're not going to be able to do that. So if you don't want to buy the supplement, what I recommend is that people make beet kvass. What that is it's a fermented beet drink. And I'd like you to drink 2 glasses a day if you don't take the supplement. If you do take the supplement, we find taking 2 tablets with each meal is sufficient to get your liver gallbladder drainage caught up. And then the last thing is to consider doing liver flushes. Liver flushes is literally where you flush out all the sludge out on the bottom of the liver. And this is a longer video, and so I will send you a copy of this, or you can find it on our website right near this video where we walk you through how to do a liver flush. I recommend that people do a liver flush at least once a quarter or 4 times a year. And so the first 2 phases, stomach and liver, has led us up to one of the most important steps, is absorption. All this food that we're eating is really so that we can absorb the nutrients and calories out of it so that we can feed our cells so that they can in turn turn this into energy. And so the small intestine's incredible. If you were to spread out your small intestine, it would actually be the size of a tennis court. It's that large because there's all these little fingers called microvilli that are absorbing the nutrients. It's essential that we have broken down the food into the smallest part possible so that our small intestine can absorb it. These microvilli and the skin inside our intestines, it's really sensitive. And what we have to have is we have to have sufficient digestive enzymes. Many people have never really heard or understood the concept of enzymes, but enzymes are basically the life of food. They are proteins that are wrapped up that act like keys in the body, and they activate different biological processes. In fact, every single cellular function in our body is based on having sufficient enzymes. Now here's the problem. Enzymes are supposed to be in the food that we eat. We eat an apple, or we eat meat, or we drink milk. Enzymes to digest that food is already in the food. But when we eat food that's been processed, it's been canned, it's been radiated, in fact, herbicides and insecticides and pesticides kill the enzymes on the food. And so what's happening in America is so many of us are eating what's called dead food. It has no life in it whatsoever. And so what happens is our bodies have to donate its own metabolic enzymes to try to digest the food. And the problem is, according to the Center of Disease Control, the average person has 15 pounds of undigested food in our intestines. This is from not enough digestive enzymes. There are 3 stages of digestive enzyme depletion. The first stage is stage 1, and it's when you get mild gas or inconsistent stool quality or quantity. Stage 2 is moderate gas, where you get an occasional burping and non-consistent stool quality and quantity. Your stools are just getting worse and worse. And then stage 3 is when you're getting lots of offensive gas. You're getting frequent belching, abdominal pain, you feel like you need antacids, and you're either getting constipation or diarrhea. And so everybody is in, if they're not ideal, they're in one of those 3 stages. And then when we don't have digestive enzymes, when we enter into the stage 3 of digestive enzyme depletion, is when many of us get leaky gut symptoms. The symptoms of leaky gut are this: allergies, either food or environmental, any type of autoimmune disease, especially thyroid, arthritis of any kind, malabsorption or inflammation anywhere in our body, heartburn, belching, bloating, gas, constipation, loose bowels, but most especially is the emotional stuff, the irritability, anxiety, depression, the cognitive deficits, the brain fog, and really all chronic diseases like diabetes, irritable bowel, cancer, heart disease, Crohn's, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. These are all signs and symptoms that we're getting holes in our small intestine because of too much mucus and not enough digestive enzymes. So here's what we do. We need to take digestive enzymes. Unfortunately, this is the only stage where I can't tell you food that you need to eat. We need to fill back up our digestive enzyme bank account. And by doing this, we'll begin to absorb a lot of the undigested food and a lot of the undigested mucus that's in our intestines. And so here's what you need to do. You need to take 2 tablets of digestive enzyme formula with every meal over the next 60 days. And over those 60 days, you can eat up a lot of the undigested food and fill back up your bank account. Now, the older we get, the less enzymes we have. And so some people, after the 60 days of DNA reset, will need to continue to take some digestive enzymes. And the way that you know is simple: bloating and gas. Gas, either belching or lower abdominal, is simply a sign that you're not breaking down your food because you have insufficient digestive enzymes. Now, if you believe you already have leaky gut, if you have the symptoms that I mentioned, if you're getting allergies, asthma, arthritis, you're getting the brain fog, and you think that leaky gut is part of your issue, the solution to leaky gut is bone broth. Now, a lot of us have heard about bone broth. It's really become popular recently. But bone broth works because it's high in gelatin and collagen. About 25% of the protein in our body is made out of collagen. And think of it like the gel that holds together everything. And so as we age, we have less collagen and gelatin, and so people's skin sags. They get more wrinkles, but it's happening on the inside of the intestines too. The skin on the inside of the intestines is breaking down. And by taking broth, good homemade bone broth, you can help seal the gut lining with the collagen and the gelatin that's in there. In addition, there's things like L-glutamine and glucosamine that are really nourishing. If you don't want to make bone broth, I understand. I'd recommend that you take 2 tablets of leaky gut seal with every meal over 60 days if you feel like you have the symptoms of leaky gut. But if not, just do the bone broth. It's wonderful, it's simple, and it's a great source of nutrients and minerals. And the final stage that we have to support during the DNA reset is the colon. The colon has between 100 and 400 billion live bacteria in our intestines. In fact, we have 90% more bacteria than we do human cells. I've heard some people say, in many ways, we are more bacteria than we are human. Here's some other factors that are known to destroy the good bacteria of our guts. The biggest thing that destroys is antibiotics. Antibiotics that we take and antibiotics that are given to animals. And then antacids, things like Zantac, Tagamet, Prilosec. And then painkillers like Advil, Tylenol, Excedrin, Motrin. In fact, almost all over-the-counter and prescription medications are known to destroy the good bacteria. In addition to this, foods, things like white sugar, carbonated beverages, these are known to destroy the good bacteria. And then also coffee and fluorinated water. In fact, fluorinated water is known to shut down 62 different enzyme systems in our body. And so it's really important that we're getting good, clean, either reverse osmosis or spring water so we're not shutting down our enzymes and our good bacteria in our bodies. And so it's essential that we re-inoculate the good bacteria into our guts. The best way of doing this is fermented foods. The 5 Ks, kefir, which is fermented milk. It's kvass, which is fermented vegetable drinks, like a fermented beet drink or cabbage drink. It is kraut, sauerkraut. It is kimchi, which is the Asian version of our sauerkraut. And it's kombucha, which is a wonderful fermented tea. And so during these next 60 days, I want you to get 1 fermented food in you each day. If you cannot do this, then you need to take the pills. And the pills are what we have called pre and probiotics. And each one contains 25 billion organisms. And so what I want you to do is either eat a fermented food or you're going to take 2 tablets of our pre and probiotics twice a day. And by doing this, you're going to re-inoculate your bowels. And then you'll have supported your body, you'll have changed your diet, you'll be activating your good genetics, and this is just going to go so long in taking you towards whole body health. And so one more time, let me review it because I know this is complicated. The first thing you're going to do is, in addition, you're staying on the phase 1 diet. You're only eating meat and vegetables. You're either doing apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon in each glass of water, or you're taking 2 tablets of stomach juice with each meal. Then you're supporting the liver. You're either doing 1 to 2 glasses of beet kvass, or you're taking liver drainage, liver gallbladder drainage with each meal. Then you have to take digestive enzymes. Unfortunately, there's no food. And so you're going to take 2 to 3 tablets of digestive enzymes with every single meal. And then the final step is we're going to support the colon so that we can activate our good genetics, and we're going to take either 2 tablets of pre and probiotics twice a day, or we're going to take 1 of the 5 Ks. This is going to change